Thank you. João, here, Luis, I have a question.
Hello.
Just out of curiosity, how much does it cost to take a shark from New York to Brazil through 700 kilometers of road and deliver it to the aquarium and so on?
That invoice was 70,000 euros, so 35 per shark. So that's the shark and the transport and the consulting. Yeah. And a lot of expenses. Yeah.
Wow.
That gives me an idea. Next time, I like where your head's at.
Hey, Mark. So I'm a big fan of citizen science and the work you did with this whole project over 30 years. I'm wondering what's the difference past the COVID, now into relation between the generation of new diver and old diver. Are you doing better or a little bit less in the last few years?
There was obviously a drop in activity during COVID itself, although local things actually picked up more quickly because people couldn't travel, so they were doing more local stuff. Other than that, I would say every year we seem to find more awareness of the problems amongst divers, and particularly going back to what was said earlier today, the younger generations of people are more concerned than ever about looking after our planet. So yeah, no shortage of interest.
I think you two guys should get together and film his capturing a fish all the way to the release in the new aquarium.
We could do that. We do a lot of aquarium episodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why not? I like it.
I talk really fast.
Yeah. Well, goes without saying. Especially when they give you 20 minutes.
Yeah, I was looking at that quote going, oh my God.
We're way into the coffee
Jonathan,
break.
here, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So, as a cinematographer underwater, the bunch of kit you bring with you, how is the complexity of running all those equipments in underwater, and how deep you can go with the cameras and the lights and things like that? Do you think nowadays the technology fits the needs of the photographers, or what's your thoughts?
The technology has made it much, much easier. In some of those pictures, I have a Gates housing that's like this big. I sold that. I have a little mirrorless camera that we shoot with now. It's 6K. It goes in a carry-on. It's got a depth limit far beyond mine. It's got a vacuum alarm that makes me know that I'm not going to flood it. Like, the technology has made it much, much easier to do this. Smaller cameras are a little harder to film with. It takes a little bit more skill than a big one that has inertia. But as a general rule, these days, we're doing a show like Blue World. We're on a low budget, and we have to travel with a limited number of people, and we don't have a big crew. The equipment has made it, the technology has made it a lot easier. Was that what you were getting at? Yeah, okay.
I have another one for you, Jonathan. It's very nice work. Thanks for sharing. Good presentation. The funding, it's along the same lines as the other one. Other than your wife's salary, how do you get? Because it's all free online, right, on YouTube, so it can't be just ad revenue. Do you get supporters, sponsors, things like that?
So you would think that we would, but there's no money in the diving industry. And we've reached out to the dive industry, and the most we can usually get from them is gear. And for the most part, we turn down most gear offers because, for example, a certain equipment manufacturer came to us a few years ago, and they were like, yeah, we want you to wear all of our gear. And I'm like, well, what if I don't want to wear your regulator? Like no, it's everything or nothing. So it's easier just to buy gear. Gear's not that expensive, and it lasts a long time. So most of our revenue comes from three places. One is YouTube's revenue, the ad rev. Yeah, if you have a channel that, believe it or not, if you have a channel with 1.2 million subscribers, we started the channel in 2008. We didn't get serious about it in 2012. So it's been 10 years. Honestly, the fact that we only have 1.2 million subscribers tells me that we're doing something wrong. But if you have a channel with 1.2 million subscribers, you do make revenue on that channel that is significant enough that it can keep some stuff going. It doesn't pay my salary, our full-time editor's salary, and the production costs of the show, not the whole amount. But when you combine it with the revenue that we get from foreign television distribution deals, and we have a whole bunch of deals with educational streaming services that are affiliated with schools, and they pay us an annual license fee to have access to ad-free versions and the educational episodes. And when you combine that all together, that actually, believe it or not, does now allow us to eke out a living. We are not getting rich, but we still run trips with groups in order to make more expensive locations possible. And we still, we count on relationships that we have in the dive industry. We have a very good relationship with Aggressor Fleet. We basically have an open invitation on an Aggressor boat when they have spots. The problem is they have spots at the last minute. They never have spots in 2 years. So that's actually really hard to take advantage of, and we've actually only done it a couple of times. But I mean, seriously, things like Arlindo, he sees the show and says, I'd like to promote Portugal, maybe Blue World would like to come over and do some episodes, and he helps facilitate it and gets us over here. We survive on that. Like, we need that because we cannot afford to just pay full cash price everywhere we go. And of course, we have a ton of dive shops all over the world that are just like, hey, come and do an episode on us. And I'm always like, I'm game. What have you got that's a good story? Because the thing to remember is that our show is story driven. And it's about animals or an adventure, and there's always a conservation theme, but it's not a travel show. It's not a dive travel show. It's not like, hey, we're gonna go to some place and just we're looking for a story. So my question to that dive shop is always like, what's the story? Do you have a unique animal there? What's the angle? Do you have a very interesting dive site that's got something special about it that we can make part of the show? So we're always looking for that story, and that helps us get the show made as well.
Any more questions? Garrett, please join the crew over there for miking or miking. I never know which is which. And also Daryl. Daryl? Okay, thank you. Any more questions? I just want to say something. We have, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 episodes about Portugal, different locations, and they are reaching 1 million views, which for me is something really crazy. We never had videos about diving in Portugal. So.
Nice. My question is for you, Mark, about PADI. You showed, it's much bigger than I thought it was, the PADI AWARE Foundation. I didn't realize it was such a big organization. How much does it grow yearly? And it's still growing, or is it been that size for a while?
It has a steady growth, yes. It tends to correlate with certification activity because, as I say, we're doing about 1 million new divers every year, and a portion of those start to get involved with Project Aware in one aspect or another. Also, you'll find that a particular dive center, for example, will have somebody who's really keen and fanatical about the environment and very motivated to do stuff. They'll generate a lot of people to do more work in that area. Overall, yes, it is growing. Because we got such big numbers, it's relatively incremental growth, but yeah, several percentages a year, definitely.
Okay, thank you very much.